So we've really hammered on the efficiency, because that really across the board is the best bang for your buck. You're always going to get more out of your dollar focusing on the efficiency. But once you're done with that, now we can get to the renewables. So the solar system for this house was only 15 panels. It's a 4.65 kW array. After tax, it was $10,500. But because it was part of the new construction, it got rolled into the owner's 30-year mortgage. So the difference in their annual mortgage payments from having that solar as part of the construction is about $545 for the year. But the system is generating $640 from the energy that it's selling back to the power company. So it's cash flow positive the moment they set foot in the house. So this is what the house looks like. This is the first one that was completed just over a year ago. We've since built 2 more, and we're in the process of building a 4th. I meant to try to go over there and get pictures of it to put in this presentation, but I ran out of time. We are using, so going back to the stormwater issue, that's a really, really big driver. We've got a lot of regulations around stormwater infrastructure. So using these Whitaker Greer pervious pavers, we were able to eliminate the need to build a retention pond for this little mini subdivision. They're just, the pavers themselves look great. It adds a huge amount to the aesthetic of the house. It really let us sort of get away without having to have a garage because they look so good. We also are using all native landscaping. We have bioretention for the rainwater that's coming off the roof. So literally no water comes off of the site when it rains. This is what the inside of the house looks like. You can see it's just a pretty nice, well-lit, contemporary open floor plan. We've got zero VOC paint. We used local unfinished red oak and installed the floors, and then came back and put in safe coat. They have a zero VOC, non-toxic, water-based stain and sealer. This is what the kitchen looks like. We used executive cabinets. They're out of North Carolina, so they're regionally manufactured. There's zero VOC, no added formaldehyde, and again, GreenGuard Gold. GreenGuard is definitely, from an air quality standpoint, something to look out for. These are the bathrooms. We used Crossville tiles, which is just up in Crossville, Tennessee, about an hour away. They're local. They've got recycled content. They also have EPDs and HPDs. From the first house, we used Caesar stone quartz countertops. They're actually Declare labeled, which is, in my opinion, the best standard when it comes to the material health. They're also GreenGuard certified. On the 2nd to 4th homes, we used Cosentino silestone. They have EPDs, HPDs, and are GreenGuard certified. For those that I'm throwing these acronyms around, I apologize. EPDs are environmental product declarations. So they basically look at the life cycle environmental impact of a particular product, everything from the extraction to the transportation and the manufacturing of that product. It looks at global warming potential. It looks at acidification. It looks at eutrophication, which is basically adding nutrients to water that create algae blooms that kill off the aquatic life, and in some cases, like in Akron, Ohio, make the water poisonous even to humans. They also look at ozone depletion and ground level ozone creation, which is smog. So that's an EPD will sort of give you the picture of a product across those different metrics. HPDs, if you think of EPDs as a sort of the nutrition information on the back of food, HPDs are health product declarations. Those are like the ingredients list. So unfortunately, in the building industry, it's still you still see a lot of really nasty stuff going into building products. And this movement to encourage manufacturers to release health product declarations is really just about transparency. And, you know, short of banning some of this stuff, at least just let me know that it's in the product so I can make my own choice. So, you know, if you're anything like me, when I go to the grocery store, I, you know, pick something up and turn it around. When I get to the, like, third paragraph of things I can't pronounce, or if I see something like high fructose corn syrup, I put it back on the shelf. I want to be able to do the same thing with my building products. And so that's what the declare label, health product declarations really help with. Also, cradle to cradle is another good option for that. So the certifications that we have and that we're pursuing on these homes, EPB Smart Build, that's our local utility. They have their own little program where they'll come in and actually do the blower door test and inspect the insulation and stuff. We're doing Energy Star 3.0. We're pursuing the Zero Energy Capable with Brett, and we're also pursuing LEED Platinum version 4 on the last of the homes that's under construction right now. I presume almost everybody on this call knows what this is, but if not, this is really super important. If you take anything away from this presentation, at least take these two things. The HERS index is like your miles per gallon for a house. So existing homes are in, you know, the sort of low to mid hundreds. A new standard home that meets code is at 100. An Energy Star home is at 85. Our homes are a 9 on the HERS rating. And so I was talking to Brett about this a little bit before. HERS ratings can be a little bit finicky when it comes to net zero energy. Just because you have a positive score doesn't mean that it can't be, the building can't achieve net zero. And just because you have a negative score doesn't mean that the building will achieve net zero. So you still have to really track the energy consumption and really pay close attention to your energy budget in addition to the HERS, but it's a really great starting point to sort of give you an idea of where you're at. The other thing here on the right, this is also super important. This is the Appraisal Institute's Green and Energy Efficient Addendum. So you can use this when you're getting financing, whether it's for the construction or for the home purchase. You can give it to the bank and say, look, any appraiser that you get for this has to fill out this green addendum. And so the banks can't cherry pick appraisers, but they can add stipulations to any appraiser that gets that basically wins the bid. And so this is a great tool in terms of value. Now, this is sort of a day in the life of our next-gen home. So you can see here, sun comes up, sun goes down. This is where our solar is generating. The red is the energy usage. So this is the sort of the big spike when they come home. They're probably, you know, cooking dinner, and then you've got a little bit higher energy use until they go to bed, and then it sort of flatlines. You can see they're definitely setting back their thermostat, so that's good. This is the actual utility usage. So we had a really abnormally harsh January this year, which just set us over the net zero line. But here in the next couple months, we should be catching up to that as the weather normalizes and we get more generation. But you can see, I mean, basically the first bill these owners had was after January, and now that they're back to net generating, it's going to go back to zero. So this is the big thing. Our hard cost was $160 a square foot. That includes the general condition. It includes the full value of everything that was provided by sponsors or discounted by sponsors. We sold the project at $200 a square foot. So the general contractor's profit comes out of that. The property comes out of that. And the most important thing about that to local developers is that we had the last 3 homes sold before we had footings in the ground. So there's so much demand for this kind of construction in our market that, I mean, we didn't even have a house and we were able to sell them just based on people being able to see the first house was enough to get them to buy the next ones. Sorry, I know we're running a little bit over time here. This is sort of a breakdown of the budget, where the money went. You can see here, this is the house across the street that's been on the market for over a year at basically the same price point. It's in a better school district. It's got a 2-car garage, but they haven't been able to sell theirs, whereas, like I said, I sold ours before we had footings in the ground. I'm going to skip over this. This is basically just showing how if you include the monthly electric bill in your cash flow analysis for how much house you can afford, you can pay for up to $25,000 in upgrades to your construction with the same exact cash flow. So the idea that, you know, people can't afford this is just silly.
Michael, I actually, if it's okay with you, I know we're a little over time, but do you have some time to stick around?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, I think, you know, I really would hate to have you skip over that part, because I think
okay. Yeah.
It's at least from what we're seeing, it's a massive barrier. And I wonder if you can talk to us about it a little bit more. And, you know, if you've been in touch with any lenders or banks who, you know,
absolutely.
I'll be honest with you, I've talked to a few, and they like the idea, but there's some legal issues to address it, some regulatory issues, and I think it's a massive barrier. So I'd love for you to cover it.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, the whole home buying or home building conversation starts with this question, you know, how much can I afford? Like, what is my budget? And often that comes down to the salary, how much down payment you have. You know, you have all of these calculators online of, you know, okay, how much house can I afford? And you put in all of your property tax and your homeowners association fees, and you put in your debt. But in none of these calculators does it show what's the average electric bill. What's the average electric bill in your region or in your specific location? So in Tennessee, that's $123 a month. And so going from affordable to sort of stretching is what's shown just on this calculator, where they're suggesting $312,000 for your particular situation. But hey Kelly, would you grab me some water? But so when we've talked to banks, what we've shown them is exactly this. Look, for the same exact cash flow on the buyer side, we can increase the amount of construction cost by $25,000 and still have the same loan to income ratio, basically. And they get that. They're like, oh yeah, I see that. Now you're always going to have more trouble making that argument to banks that don't that really don't do their own mortgages, right? So if you're talking to like a Quicken Loans that's just doing like millions of mortgages like all over the country, anything that's not standard, they don't want to hear about, and it could fall through. But if you're talking to like a local credit union that, they do their own originations and they hold their own loans, you can show them this. And in addition, I should probably add this to the presentation. I think UNC and Institute for Market Transportation did a really great study, North Carolina, that found, I think it was like a 30% reduced default rate for energy efficient homes, normalizing for every other demographic thing, education, income, property value, all of that stuff. Normalized, you see a 30% lower default rate. And it makes sense why. Because if you don't have enough money to pay all of your bills, what's going to happen first? Are you going to get your electric cut off, or are you going to get foreclosed on and kicked out of your house? You're going to get your electric cut off. So you pay that bill first before you pay your mortgage, because, it takes months to go through the process of foreclosing and evicting somebody, where the utility has a much, much shorter fuse. So anything that's lowering your electric bill is money that can go into your mortgage payment in those sorts of emergency situations. And when you explain that to a lender, they're like, oh, yeah, I totally get that. That makes sense. And it's actually now, I think Fannie and Freddie are starting to develop specific products or benefits, I think like loan-to-value ratio, or no, it's debt-to-income ratio. It gets a bonus, I think. I should, but I'll put more of that in, I think, in this presentation. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps out a lot. So thanks for elaborating.
Yeah. So Brett, I can't see the questions right now. So I'll just leave it to you to sort of filter through those and ask me what people have.
Oh, great. Yeah, I mean, if we're at Q&A, there's definitely a lot of questions, or I didn't know if you had anything else to wrap up with.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I mean, this last slide is, I mean, really one of the most important things about this project has been the impact that it's had. We've really been able to use it for the last few years and even now to educate every part of the market. So we've had those conversations you're talking about with local banks, and we've got them on board. So when somebody else wants to build this, they've said, send them to us. We get it. Then we've also been working with local students. We've been working with our workforce development team, just to really show that this should be normal, basically.
Yeah, well, awesome, Michael. We definitely got some questions piling in.
Yep.
One of them I was thinking about is, obviously it's really great these are being built for market rate, but I did notice in there you had mentioned discounts or product donations, which I can imagine, are great for showing things off, but I wonder on the sustainability of that. So if you were to factor out donations or discounts, do you know how you're doing then?
Oh, that all of our numbers factor those out. We don't include that in any of the numbers. So the hard cost.
Oh, full value right there. Okay, there it is.
Yeah.
It says it. Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right.
So yeah, and I should also say that we didn't make any decisions based on that. We based our decisions on what we wanted to do, And then we went to the providers and said, hey, do you want to get marketing from being involved with this project? You don't have to. You know, there's not like a quid pro quo. If you don't sponsor it, we're not going to use you.
Right.
It was really just about if they wanted to get marketing value from it, they could sponsor.
Right. Yeah, no, that's the best way to do it. That's very cool here. So what do what do other builders in the area think? I mean, are they thinking, hey, I can learn from this? Are they ignoring it? Are they considering you now a direct competition? Because it's, a lot of nonprofits usually in this area, or not an area, but just you hear about them doing it in more low-income housing, affordable housing. So, what's been kind of the feedback there?
Oh, it's been super positive, and I should say, like, we're not getting in the development business. We're not going to keep doing these ourselves. We're partnering with other developers. So we're basically partnering as consultants on other projects. We've got 24 homes in the pipeline for other developers that want to do this. The company that actually built the last three is completely sold on this and said, we're only building this way from now on. We're, and want us to keep partnering with them to sort of, so they can stay on the cutting edge. We have another developer who, I'm not kidding, like, this guy doesn't even use construction drawings. I mean, he is like as good old boys get, and he said, yeah, I want to do this. I see the value. I think I certainly love that you were able to sell them this quickly. Just show me what to do. And it's been, that's been challenging, especially for somebody that doesn't use specs and drawings and stuff like that. And then some of the bigger developers are now asking us to come present some of this stuff and show them what they could incorporate, whether it's sort of as part of their base package or at the very least as sort of a menu of upgrade options to say, like, okay, well, here's the base, here's our super efficient package, and here's our net zero package. Because as long as they're getting paid for it, nobody's against this. Nobody's opposed to this idea. It's been really more of just that information gap between the buyers and lenders, the buyers and contractors, and then the builders that are building speculatively.
All right, well, great. Michael, real quick, I just want to wrap up here as people are leaving here. For those of you looking for your continuing education, there's going to be a survey that'll pop up. Make sure to take that survey. An email is going to be sent to you as well. Check your spam for messenger@webex.com. For those of you watching this on demand in the future, make sure to complete the 10-question quiz with an 80% passing rate. Huge thanks to all of our members, volunteers, donors, directors, sponsors listed here who allow us to be able to do these sessions and allow us, and thank you all for joining us on these sessions. Michael, there's still a lot of questions kind of pouring in.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of technical questions. And what I would actually ask is that maybe you can just reiterate where people can find out more information about what you're working on and where they could contact you if they've got they've got further questions.
Yeah, we're at greenspaceschattanooga.org, and my email address is Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, at greenspaceschattanooga.org.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for your time, Michael. Thank you all for joining us. Everyone have a good week. Take care.